The whole idea today is to show you what we can do with this technology. And despite all the hype and all the talk about, how blockchain is life changing and all this build up, what we try to do in Dubai is actually through imaginative leadership and initiative show the world how we can actually navigate this new technology and have projects that, even if they seem impossible, can actually be done if we have the right leadership, the large, idea of what to do. One of the examples of what we do in Dubai is something called the Ministry of Possibilities. What we found out in the UAE is that a lot of times there is a problem that needs to be solved, but there is no entity that can, address it without stepping over the toes of other entities or other ministries. So what we created in the UAE is something called the Ministry of Possibilities. It is a ministry without a minister, which means that any minister can step in to solve a problem. It means that anybody can suggest solutions for existing problems, and we can bring different ministers, different thought leaders, different entrepreneurs, startups, and even the citizens, small and big, to actually come and discuss the problem and together trying to solve what seems to be impossible by bringing the right people to the table in a very organized, systematic way. And this initiative, which is called the Ministry of Possibilities, is in the same building where we have our Dubai Blockchain Center, which tells you that the UAE has this leadership of solving problems together in an environment where everyone comes together to solve the problem, not just throw blame. And in the same ecosystem, we have something called Area 2071. And Area 2071 is a manifestation of the UAE's Centennial Plan. And the Centennial Plan is to make the UAE, and Dubai more specifically, the leader in everything by 2071, by 100 years from the formation of the UAE, the leader in happiness, the leader in technology, the leader in innovation, in all aspects of life. And this includes government, corporate, startups, investors, and everyone that can bring success in this kind of vision of making the city the best city in the world by 2071. There are opportunities for startups to discuss ideas. We have this website, which is the Dubai Future Accelerators, where if you have a startup that needs to be incubated and wants to tap into that ecosystem, please connect with us. And the QR code there you can scan to go to that website as well. The Dubai Blockchain Center was created in May 2018 with the same vision to make UAE the leader in this space and to have tangible projects that can be kicked off where we utilize the technology, not for the sake of utilizing the technology, but for the sake of solving real-life problems. And Dubai, from the very beginning, set a very, very ambitious record. And today, we are in the final days of this blockchain strategy, which actually we have succeeded in. We made every single possible blockchain use case within the government feasible by 2020, which was done. And there are reports that are published by us and the World Economic Forum to showcase some of these projects to the world. We have also published another publication last year to share our experience with the whole world. And it's a free publication available both in electronic form in many languages, including Arabic and English. And it basically showcases what we've done in Dubai when it comes to blockchain and what lessons we learned and what is the outtake from this technology. What we realized from trying this technology in Dubai is that blockchain brings three main advantages or three main use case realizations. And one of them is for record keeping and notarization. The other one is smart contracts, especially with Solidity and Ethereum, and also Hyperledger from IBM, as well as value exchange, which is mostly cryptocurrencies and other, for example, land deed exchange and other digital value exchanges without the reliance on third parties. We're using, for example, peer-to-peer transactions on something like Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency blockchains. And what we've realized from trying this technology at different sectors and also asking people within these sectors. What we realized, and there are some sectors that are better suited for this technology and where the impact is really high in them. One of those sectors that has high across the board at the three different areas that we discussed before, which is it's financial services. There are other services or other areas, but they have one or two of the three main, strengths of blockchain technology. But the financial services is the one that actually we started with. We actually started a company in Dubai called Exceliance in Dubai International Financial Center, just for that sake, where we can actually help banks and financial services in realizing this technology, especially for settlements and financing, basically. And what we did in the report that I mentioned earlier is we divided the steps on doing a blockchain project into pre-implementation, during implementation, and post-implementation. And we identified all the challenges and what are the takeaways and expectations for each one of those three phases. And for each phases, what are the best practices and what we've realized from doing these projects firsthand. And of course, with that, we created also a research network. And that research center is actually part of the World Economic Forum. And it was a partnership with the UAE government. And we actually tackled three different projects for research. One for the Center for Research for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And that was one of the things we tackled was AI and machine learning. The second one, which I was involved with the most, was actually blockchain and distributed ledger technology, especially when it comes to supply chain and trade finance. One of the things we are going to tackle in 2021 is going to be precision medicine. And precision medicine is not directly related to blockchain, but there are blockchain aspects that can help or strength and use cases where it can help tremendously within this space, especially when it comes to DNA and privacy-related issues. One other report that we actually shared last year with the World Economic Forum, and it's available to download either from the United Arab Emirates government or from the WEF website, World Economic Forum, or through the URL and QR code that I mentioned here, is the inclusive deployment of blockchain in the UAE, the different use cases across the board, from trade finance to health to education and more. We have also recently published, as of last week or so, we have published our report on tokenization and digital assets. And this includes both STOs as well as cryptocurrencies. And the stance of the UAE from the regulatory perspective, we have interviewed more than 100 people who are decision makers in the UAE or members of free zones and startups and the public, and also thought leaders within the blockchain space on what they see the UAE doing in this space, and what they see Dubai playing as a role as well in this ecosystem, and how can they align themselves strategically with this technology and the thought leaders within it. And this is an overview of the report. And we actually looked at three different use cases, one within real estate, and then the second and third are within financial services, more specifically venture capital and financial services in general. And what we did as well in Dubai to support technologies such as blockchain technology, what we realized is that we need digital identity for blockchain projects to succeed. There is an element of KYC, an element of identifying the person, because when you use real cash, you actually see the person that you're giving the cash to, and in the virtual world you don't have that same identity associated with whenever you do any money transaction. So when you have something like digital identity, you can rest assured that whoever you're paying money to, you can identify them, that you don't send to the wrong wallet, for example. And this was missing for years, actually. within the blockchain space. And a lot of people send money to the wrong addresses. There are a lot of people that created shorter addresses or humanly understandable addresses, and they've been selling for a lot of money as well in some of the projects, like in Ethereum, for example, with the name and addresses that were premium that you could actually bid on. So what we created in Dubai is something called UAE Pass. And UAE Pass is our vision for how we perceive identity, not only for blockchain, but in general across all government services. So UAE Pass is your single sign-on into every government service. It is your single wallet where you pay for all government services. You tie it up with whatever a wallet you have, and you can pay for any service in the same application. It is your digital vault where you can store all your documents, and you can pull documents from government departments that are already digitally signed by those government departments. So there is no room for fake or forgery or even manipulation. You can pull and push both of them. You can sign documents. You can verify documents that have been signed within the platform or any time where you have root certificate authorities that are recognized worldwide by providers such as Adobe, Google, and others, and these root certificate authority, what is known as the CAB forum. And also, we had, as with blockchain technology and strategy within the UAE, where we had to have every applicable government department's blockchain use case on the realized by 2020. We also had this initiative that we have everyone has to be paperless 100% by 2021, and also they have to use our e-wallet solution and the APIs provided by them to pay for all the government services. You cannot pay for any government services within Dubai without tapping into the e-wallet ecosystem. So traditional payments are already out of the window by end of 2021. We have also created in Dubai something called the Dubai Future Councils, where we look at different aspects of society and life within the UAE, and more specifically Dubai, when it comes to education, security, humanitarian aids, media, and even blockchain, where I sit on that council as well, where we try to tackle both blockchain-related and cryptocurrency, more specifically related issues within the space. And within that council, actually, I was nominated to be part of the Global Future Council on Cryptocurrencies, which is a working group within the World Economic Forum that tries to tackle all these, friction points for cryptocurrency adoption across the world. And one of the members is actually Visa, and Visa just announced yesterday that they are actually taking on cryptocurrencies and accepting them, and some of the projects that they are piloting right now, which is a huge move. And also we know about PayPal, and they started accepting cryptocurrencies for payments in the US. So the world is changing, and the momentum for cryptocurrency adoption is actually being realized as we speak. And I think the corona virus has increased the need for people to be more digital, and has actually moved the needle where it has reached some kind of a tipping point when it comes to mass adoption for this technology. In Dubai, we have tried some stuff and we have failed, but we have tried and continue to try, and we have succeeded in some of the projects. We were very ambitious when we started doing blockchain projects. We started with more than 140 different projects, and what we realized out of those were 40 projects that are still surviving. That doesn't mean that we are a failure. That means that we strive to try, we dare to try, we have the regulations and the regulation labs, then they call it lab for a reason, where we can try these things in an environment where it is controlled without harming anyone. And at the same time, if it succeeds, we can actually expand that experiment into a real life scenario where we can actually utilize that technology. We have also looked at different jurisdictions around the world and what they do when it comes to the regulation of cryptocurrencies, because this is a very, fresh space, and there will be, like I said, a lot of trial and error. So when it comes to financial services, the Dubai takes a bit of a careful approach to it. But we continue to look at what other people around the world, including in our own neighborhood, do in this kind of space. And we've looked at both ADGM, Bahrain, Malta, and the United Kingdom, and we compared the laws within these jurisdictions and to see and to ease to the money-providing businesses within cryptocurrencies, to show them what are the differences and what is the best jurisdiction for their particular use case. And we've done this with our partner law firm within the Dubai Blockchain Center, Calm Legal, and also our partners within those jurisdictions of Malta and the United Kingdom, where we actually looked at their laws, and we actually recommend some companies to be based out of those different jurisdictions, depending, of course, on their needs. And I would like to take this opportunity also to invite you to join our Future Blockchain Summit, which is from the 6th to the 9th of December, which is in 3 days. It is both a virtual and in-person event, and it is a huge event with big names in blockchain and cryptocurrencies showing up for it, as well as from traditional financial services. It's run along the same venue with two other conferences, which are GISEC, which is the Gulf Information Security Conference and Exhibition, as well as GITEX, which is the Middle East, if not the world's biggest computer and technology expo. And all of them happen within the same 4 days, 6th to 9th of December. So we look forward to seeing you there virtually, at least. And if you need more information about Dubai Blockchain Center, you can visit us at dbcc.ae, or you can just take a camera photo of the QR code. That's it for my talk, and thank you for listening.
All right, Mr. Alzarouni, many thanks for your keynote. It was very interesting to hear from Dubai, actually, what is going on. Before we start, if you have at home questions for Mr. Alzarouni or for the upcoming speakers, on the right side of your screen, there is a nifty drop-down menu where you can leave your questions. You can also ask them via the Twitter, of course, the hashtag DBW2020, and our website dutchblockchainweek.com/Q, and it will end up in this studio. Mr. Alzarouni, it was really interesting what you mentioned about medicine, of course, and the impact of blockchain on medicine. Yesterday, we had also a thought leader from the World Economic Forum speaking about blockchain. I've read that you, as a serial entrepreneur, also found a social impact solution for organ and blood donation on the blockchain. Is that correct?
Yes, so one of the projects that we did in Dubai was actually called Donor Health Tech. In the UAE, it was rebranded to Hayat, and Hayat in Arabic means life. And it's basically the Ministry of Health in the UAE took over that project actually completely. So we handed over the code after we finished the pilot with them. The pilot lasted almost a year and was for organ donation. So organ matching using DNA, as well as recalling, blood bags that were actually contaminated or had any issues with, which was a huge problem. It seems trivial, right? But it actually was a huge problem that if somebody donated blood, tracking who donated and where it went and the life cycle and provenance of that sample was really, really hard.
Yeah. It was interesting. You mentioned that the Dubai government executed over 140 projects, amongst which the digital identity. It is also the key priority for the Dutch government, the self-sovereign identity within the blockchain atmosphere. If we look to this identity, is this, according to you, the most exciting blockchain implementation in Dubai so far? Or what is it, according to you?
I think the main thing for us in Dubai was actually getting the regulators to understand the technology. A lot of times people have this bad stigma around Bitcoin, especially, that it is actually used for mischievous reasons. And even if you have that project that we talked about, Hayat, the Hayat by itself changed how people perceive that technology. Hayat showed a use case that could not be solved with traditional means. And even if you could, it would be really complicated solution. Blockchain just made it that much easier. It made it a seamless project. Nobody believed us in the beginning that it actually can be done. And then when we actually did it, they were like, wow, it is so simple. How can nobody thought of this before? And how come it's not done across the world? I mean, sovereign identity and identifying anything from a person to a thing to an Internet of Things item, everything can be done, can be identified. NFTs is a huge example of that, and you can identify real world items as well as digital items as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. What I've also read is that the Dubai government really is pushing on the collaboration with the industry. So is in close collaboration, developing all these projects with the industry. What is the key lesson that we can learn in the Netherlands from these collaborations in Dubai?
I think speed. In Dubai, what we have is a cohort-based system where we take projects in batches. And we have 7 to 8 weeks sometimes for the projects, which seems impossible everywhere else in the world. But we take on these projects, we vet them, and we run them. We call it a PPP model, a public-private partnership. We bring the government department that needs this use case to be solved, and we bring in the best people in the world through a contest-based system, and we base them in Dubai. Within those 7 to 8 weeks, they have to actually solve the problem and have the MVP ready by then. And then they sign a longer-term project, usually 6 months to 1 year, to actually realize the full potential of that project.
Okay.
And it's been working so far.
Yeah. Well, we could see also from your presentation. Mr. Alzarouni, many thanks again for sharing your insights live from Dubai. We were very happy having you with us. And hopefully also for you, we hope to see you soon in the Netherlands in a physical way, if it is permitted. Also, thank you for the kind invitation for the Dubai Summit. We will share the hyperlink and, of course, also the other hyperlinks that you've shared in your presentation via our social media channel. Many thanks again, and wishing you a great day in Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.